containing an attempt to recover and reconstitute the lost origins of the myths and mysteries, types and symbols, religion and language, with Egypt for the mouthpiece, and Africa as the birthplace.
Okay, so this is MythWisdom. This is MythWisdom. Welcome to MythWisdom. Today, the topic is the Refutation and Rebuke of Godlogic Apologetics on Shamoun, on Muhammad and Aisha. So basically what this video is about is we're going to be talking about the criticism that we're hearing from Godlogic and Shamoun of the Muslims and of Muhammad. Basically, they're saying that Muhammad slept with Aisha when she was 9 years old, that he married her when she was 6, and that he slept with her, he consummated the marriage when she was 9, and because of that, either a pedophile, and he's not a good moral person for any Muslims to follow. And why would Muslims follow somebody like that who would, violate a young girl? So basically what they're doing, they're using a false equivalence. They're using like the secular laws of today to make a judgment on something that allegedly happened 1400 years ago in Arabia, basically. So you can see from the very start, they're basically on shaky ground. But, it still seems that they're having some type of, I guess you could say, for one of a better word, success against the Muslim that they're arguing with. Because most of the time, the Muslim that they're arguing with don't really have enough information to counter what they're saying. But we're going to basically refute what Godlogic is saying, and, we're going to rebuke them as well, because, they should know better. And let's listen to a bit of what they have to say so you could get an idea, and then we're going to take it from there.
So for people who believe that Muhammad is a prophet, we emphatically deny that, but for a reason. Not because we hate Muslims, not because we hate the Quran, but because when we read the Quran and we read the Hadiths, he is clearly one of the most obvious false prophets in history, next to Joseph Smith. What's that?
So Prophet Muhammad is the fake one you're saying?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Allah never spoke to Muhammad. Allah never spoke to Muhammad.
And I heard that Muslims are like being...
Are you a Muslim?
Yeah.
You're Muslim, good, and you're Muslim too, right? Okay. So what's your question? How can we know more than I guess the millions of here's what we think. We think that the Muslims don't even know their own religion. I think that a lot of Muslims have this idea of Islam. As a matter of fact, I think that the Muslims that join Islam have a better character and have a better personality than even Muhammad did, a moral character. I believe that you two are morally better than Muhammad is. And I can demonstrate that to you guys. If we have a real conversation, no insult or nothing, just a conversation of my observations and his observations, and we go step by step, I think we can prove that you guys are more moral than Muhammad. So like, for example, here's one of the top biggest ones. Would you guys sleep with a child? No, you would not. Would you? Tell me no. Okay. Muhammad slept with a 9-year-old girl, Aisha, his wife, his child, right? You guys heard of Aisha? They'll tell you the same thing over there. There's nothing we're ever saying is lying, right? So you guys know it. And just so that we, because we have viewers here too, can we read the hadiths to make sure that we're not lying?
What do you guys are showing us are like exactly what it seems though?
Because it's straight from the Islamic sources. So for example, you got that. So they don't want the pamphlets. I want to show you from a Muslim site. It's called sunnah.com. You guys can look it up in any, or I can send it to you.
No, you can have it.
It's a,
sunnah.
Yeah, so
that's a source out there.
Yeah, so we have the source.
Okay, so you get the idea. He's saying that Muhammad slept with Aisha when she was 9 years old. So let's go to Shamoun and hear what he has to say.
I can read it for you, but if you read it, just read it, Here it talks about young girls, minors who haven't had their periods, that Muslims are marrying and having sex with. This is what we call a prepubescent, premature minors, meaning young girls who haven't matured to have their periods. They are so young that the Muslim men are marrying them, having sex with them. Today we call it pedophilia. Are you okay with your Quran allowing Muslim men, I'm not saying forcing them, they don't have to, but they can, marrying young girls who are so young and premature, they haven't even matured and had periods, that men can marry them, have sex with them, divorce them, so other people marry them? Are you okay with that?
Even if I do not understand.
Okay, so there it is. So this is what Sam Shamoun, you see him there, and Godlogic, you see him there in the orange shirt. This is what they've been going around, basically debating Muslims about. Okay, saying that it's immoral that Muhammad slept with a 9-year-old girl and that it shouldn't happen, and that basically that anybody that follows a prophet, basically they're saying Muhammad is a false prophet, that Islam is false, it's a false religion, and the whole 9 yards. Now, I mean, the thing about this whole, situation with these Christians is that, to me, is that it is mind-boggling, okay, that you would have a Christian of all people talk about pedophilia, okay? And I'm surprised, none of the Muslims seem to want to bring these things up, that what's going on in the Christian church today. But I'm going to do that for them. So, they can't seem to defend their religion, so I'm going to help them a little bit. I'm going to give them a little helping hand. Here it is. So, let's take a look at this, right? So, this is the Christian church that Godlogic is talking about that is so moral, that wouldn't, have sex with a 9-year-old girl, right? This is the Christian church we're talking about, right? Priests admit child sex, pedophilia in the Christian church, third sex abuse, 156 abusers, more than 600 victims over 80 years, sex abuse allegations against Archdiocese of Baltimore, over 2,900 pedophiles work in French church. Church routinely covered up child sex abuse for 30 years. But this is the church that, this is the religion that Godlogic and Sam Shamoun is saying is more moral than Islam, okay? And now, the thing about this is that this is not happening 1,400 years ago, what's going on in the church. This is happening today, as we speak. As I'm talking to you right now, there's probably some poor kid getting molested in a Christian church somewhere. So this is what's, so I mean, I don't, talk about people in glass houses, stone. But we're going to get into even more than that. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty here. So, we're going to look at this word here, ketanah. What is this word ketanah? Okay, because we hear talk, from Godlogic that Muhammad supposedly married this child when she was 6 years old and consummated the marriage. That's Aisha'S he's talking about, when she was 9 years old. And this is what he's saying disqualifies them, for being a moral person. Now, what is ketanah? Let's take a look at what is ketanah is, okay? And this ketanah is from the Judeo-Christian tradition, okay? Which is what Sam Shamoun and God Apologetics, Godlogic, really his name should be Godlogic. But this is what this is the tradition they come from, right? Judeo-Christian. So here, we're going to take a look at what this ketanah is, okay? So, all right, so ketanah. The term ketanah, which translates to little one, has significant cultural and legal implications in Jewish tradition. particularly concerning marriage and the status of a young girl. Here, it is a comprehensive description of what a ketanot is, its historical context, legal definitions, and its implications in Jewish law. Definition and age range. Meaning, the term ketanot literally means little one in Hebrew. In the context of Jewish law, it refers specifically to a girl who is considered a minor. Age specification. A ketanot is defined as a girl who is between the ages of 3 years old and 12 years old, plus 1 day. Once she reaches the age of 12 years old and 1 day, she is classified as a gedola, or an adult in terms of legal and marital status. So here, we're seeing that a girl is considered to be legal and be ready to be married according to Jewish law at the age of 12 years and 1 day, right? Which is a minor, according to the laws of today. If we were to go with, what Godlogic and Shamoun is saying, right? So, but, we're going to go a little deeper. So, legal context in Jewish law. Marriage and guardianship in Jewish law, Hakala, a ketanah is completely subject to her father's authority. This means that her father has the legal right to arrange a marriage for her without her consent. The marriage of her ketanah is considered valid under certain conditions, but is not fully recognized until she reaches maturity. So here, they're saying that you could marry according to Jewish law, you could marry a girl between the ages of 3 and 12 years old. See that? 3 years old. 3 and 12 years old. It's legal in the Judeo-Christian tradition, and it's in law. So this is according to the Judeo-Christian tradition. This is the thing that Godlogic and Shamoun is claiming that is basically restricted to Islam, and only Islam does this, and Islam is a false religion because this happens in Islam. But here it is. It's happening in Judaism and, in the Judeo-Christian tradition, right? This is what we are seeing here. Okay? So, I mean, and this is not, they make a big deal about the fact that the girl is 6 years old. Actually, it's 7 or, at first it said 7 and it said as young as 6. But here, a girl could be as young as 3 and she could be married, according to Jewish law. Okay? It's clear. Yeah? Very clear, right here. Here it is. According to Jewish law. 3 years to 12 years old. Okay. So now, you probably wonder, well, okay. Well, Muhammad, he consummated the marriage with a girl at 9 years old. Just because that girl is married at 3 years old doesn't mean that the marriage is going to be consummated at 3 years old. Right? But let's dig a little deeper. So basically, the marriage to a ketanah can be consummated, okay, from the age of 3 until 12. But they have laws about that. Okay, they have laws about this consummation of this of the marriage. If the husband decides to consummate the marriage before the girl reaches the age of puberty. Okay, now we're gonna dig into that a little bit. Okay, so let's dig into it. So if the husband decides to consummate the marriage before the girl reaches the age of puberty, there's no real recourse. He could do that. That's what's in his rights to do that. Okay, according to the ketanah. However, once the girl reaches puberty, or 12 years old, okay, once she reaches the age of 12 years old on 1 day, she could have the marriage annulled. Like she could have it done, because now she's not technically an adult at the age of 12. Okay? And 12 years and a day. Now, this annulment, she have the right to request this annulment, or demand it actually. However, there's a 6-month window. If she don't do it within the 6-month window, then she's gonna remain married to this man. Okay, that molested her, or that had sex with her before she reached puberty, before her breast came, or before she started a breast started growing. Excuse me. She could have to remain married to this guy. So even though he's consummated married before she reaches puberty, she still have to remain married to him, and she has no recourse until she reaches the age of 12. Then she could ask for an annulment, and this annulment was called a mayun, or a miyun, depending on how you pronounce it. Okay, but the rabbis, they didn't really like that mayun. Okay, and the reason for that is they felt that once the marriage was consummated, whether it doesn't matter whether the girl is people, with people best or not, once the marriage was consummated, it was wrong to break the marriage up, even though the husband might have, had sex with the girl before she reached puberty, which is what happened in a lot of these cases. Okay, these guys didn't wait around until the girl reached 12 years old a day. I deferred. Some of them just did whatever. Some of them were, I guess. I mean, it is what it is. But this is what the law states. Okay, this was the law. So there it is. Okay. But I want you guys to go ahead and look up Ketanah and see, what it's all about. You don't just listen to me. You can go and look it up for yourself. Okay? It's definitely a Jewish tradition. Okay? And not only that, Ketanah is in the Bible. It's not in an hadith. Hadith is in the Bible itself, right? Ketanah is definitely in the Bible. So let's look at Ketanah in the Bible. We can find that Ketanah in the Bible, in the Song of Solomon, or the Song of Songs, 8:8 to 8:10. Okay, and here it says that it involved a dialogue where the brothers of the bride expressed consent for their young sister who was not yet matured and is not yet ready for marriage. They questioned what to do for her when the time comes for her to be spoken for. So let's see what it says in the Song of Solomon about this Ketanah. Oh, so here in 8:8, it says here, we have a little sister, and she has no breast. No breast. What shall we do for our sister in the day when she shall be spoken for? So little sister is a Ketanah. If you look it up, what the Hebrew word for little sister is, a little one, literally a little one, it's Ketanah, right? That's the word they use here. And so this girl is a Ketanah, okay? And she's married. Or she's spoken for, basically, right? So who is she spoken, and who is her husband? Solomon. Okay? King Solomon. Here it is here. My vineyard, which is mine, is before me, though, O Solomon, must have 1,000, and those that keep the fruit thereof 200. Solomon had a vineyard at Baal Haman, which, this is, Baal. We all know who Baal is. So Solomon had a vineyard at Baal Haman. He let out the vineyard unto keepers, everyone for the fruit thereof was to bring 1,000 pieces of silver. My vineyard, which is mine, is before me, O thou Solomon, must have 1,000 of those that keep the fruit thereof 200. Thou that dwellest in the gardens, in the companion, hearken to the voice, cause me to hear it. Make haste, my beloved, be thou like a roe or a young hart upon the mountains of spice. Because he's talking about, this is a Ketanah talking about making love to Solomon, right? I mean, you could read the whole chapter and, get an understanding of it. This is the Ketanah speaking. Oh, that thou wert my brother, that thou wert as my brother, that sucked the breast of my mother. When I should find thee without, I would kiss thee, yea, I should not be despised. So we see that the Ketanah is a tradition. This idea that, you're marrying, a child, right? Between the ages of 6, you married a child or what's considered a minor in today's law. Back then it wasn't, that wasn't the law. They didn't consider it the same way. So, this is something that was common. It wasn't anything that was out of the ordinary. And it was a common Jewish tradition as well as a Islamic tradition, obviously, okay, because they claiming that Muhammad did this. And so this was also done in the Christian Judea, in the Judeo-Christian tradition, and by no other than Solomon himself. So the question I have now for Godlogic and Sam Shamoun is it okay for Solomon to have sex with a girl that has no breasts, is prepubescent, okay, and is under 9 years old? Is that okay? That's what I'd like to know from Godlogic. I need to answer that question. Does that make Christianity and Judaism false religions, now that we know this is the fact? And just so you people are, so this is something that we have to really dig into. So let me just even dig a little deeper, right? The Ketanah is legal in America today. You hear what I just said to you? Ketanah is legal in America today by law. So it can still be practiced today, right here in America, not 1,400 years ago, okay? And I'm going to prove that to you. So let's dig into it. Give me a second. Let me put it up. Okay, so here we go. In states like California, Mississippi, New Mexico, and Oklahoma, where there is no official minimum age for marriage. Did you hear that? In California, Mississippi, New Mexico, and Oklahoma, there is no official minimum age for marriage. So it's not even a matter of from 3 to 12 years old. You can marry, it could be from 1 year old as far as this law is concerned, okay? So this is right here in America today. Okay? There it is. So and how is this done? Both parents' consent and judicial approval are typically required for minors wishing to marry. However, the specific requirements can vary by state. Parental consent in most cases, parental consent is required for minors to marry. This means that at least one parent or guardian must provide written consent for the marriage to proceed. In addition to parental consent, judicial approval may also be necessary. Let's make sure we point out that it says may also. Parental consent is definitely required. Judicial approval, not so much. Okay? It may also be necessary, especially in cases involving younger minors. So we're not just talking about minors, but younger minors. So what is a younger minor? That means a very young minor, age 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old maybe, right? A judge may need to assess whether the marriage is in the best interest of the minor and ensure that there are no issues of coercion or abuse, but they can still approve it by law. It's legal. Okay? California requires both parental consent and judicial approval for minors. Mississippi requires parental consent. Judicial approval may be needed for younger minors. New Mexico requires parental consent and may involve judicial approval. Oklahoma required both parental consent and judicial approval. In summary, while both parental consent and judicial approval are often required for minors to marry in these states, the specific requirements can vary, and in some cases, only one may be sufficient depending on the circumstances, one being either judicial approval or parental consent. So we see that the Ketanah is still active right here in America today. So to talk about, Muhammad 1400 years ago, and to say that disqualifies Islam is the height of hypocrisy and stupidity at the end of the day. Definitely. So now, before I continue on and finish this up, we could also talk about, the castrati, okay, which was a practice in the Christian religion where the Catholic Church, would have young boys, prepubescent boys, who were castrated to sing in their choir. So this was like a situation where these young boys, come from poor families in many of these cases where, they would castrate their young prepubescent boys before they reach puberty, before their voice change, so that their voice would stay the same. And the church would hire these young boys, and, their whole life would change because they'll become, basically, a lot of these castrati were famous singers because women were banned from singing in the church, so they needed people with high voices. So they would castrate these young boys and have them sing in the church instead of the women. They would call it castrati or castrato. Castrati or castrato. I mean, it's a whole long thing. I mean, I don't want to go into it here. It's going to take too long for us to go into that whole practice here. But the last castrati was, he died in 1922. Okay, so this practice went on right up into the 20th century. In the Christian religion, Catholic Church, right? I think they outlawed the practice in 1903, something like that. Yeah, now around 1903 they outlawed it, and then the last one that was alive died in 1922. So. Castrati, Ketanah, the Christian religion is the last religion to be talking about pedophilia. But without any doubt whatsoever, it should be the last religion. Okay? This is what it is. And it's basically just Christian chauvinism, and, this is what happened, when people get carried away by their beliefs. Okay, they go around making ridiculous statements and accusations like what these two guys are doing, which is Shamoun and Godlogic. So I'm not gonna carry on too long with this video. I already proved the point. We can go into the fact about the Christian church and the pedophilia, and the fact that the Christian church is the biggest producer, probably the biggest producer of pedophilia pedophiles in the world today, organized pedophilia, okay? This is organized crime being committed in the Catholic Church, the Christian Church, okay? This is what's going on in Christianity today. Today, as we speak, not 1400 years ago, allegedly in Arabia somewhere. This is today. And that the fact that you could still marry minors as young as 3 years old or even younger in America today. Okay? So those are the facts. Okay? These are the facts. So these not just the fact, it's the law. Okay? So anyway, I'm not gonna take too long with this. I think I've made my point, and I've given you Muslims a weapon to defend yourself against these against the hyperbole coming from these two so-called believers in Christianity, okay, who is going around making false accusation and claiming that another religion is false when the same thing could be pointed out in their religion. Okay, and at the end of the day, it's kind of baffling to me why these guys go after Islam, because Islam, not that I'm defending Islam by any means, because I'm neither a Christian or a Muslim, but the point is that Islam believes in the sun, right? Islam respect Mary, the mother of Christ. They respect Christ. Okay, so at the end of the day, Islam and Christianity have a lot more in common. For example, than Judaism and Christianity, where we are claiming that people are claiming that Christianity came from Judaism, which is nonsense. But that's another story that we will talk about for another time. But at the end of the day, the Jews don't believe in the Christian God or the Christian. They don't believe that Jesus Christ was a prophet or God of any sort. While the Muslims believe in the fact that Jesus was had a miraculous birth, okay, and they believe in Mary, okay, they believe that Jesus was a prophet. The Jewish church or Judaism they don't believe any of that. They believe that Christianity is a false religion. But Christians claim that Christianity comes from Judaism. That doesn't make any sense, really, but that's another story, like I said, that we're going to talk about at another time. But anyway, it is what it is. Again, Godlogic and Sam Shamoun have been refuted and rebuked, okay, successfully, okay? It's over. They need to stop going around making these claims, okay? They have been rebuked and refuted, and these claims no longer stand, because if they're going to make these claims about Islam, they have to make the same claims about Christianity. So unless the next time I see them talking about this, they better be talking about the fact that if the same thing goes on in Christianity, because now, if they didn't know before, which I find hard to believe, because they say they claim to be so knowledgeable in the Bible, they know it now. So that being said, I'm going to leave it there. This is MythWisdom saying, I'm out.
Containing an attempt to recover and reconstitute the lost origins of the myths and mysteries, types and symbols, religion and language, with Egypt for the mouthpiece and Africa as the birthplace.